good white ink is absolutely critical, but it's the process. So just what we talked about, you open up the mesh, give it a lot of space because white's thicker. Jason's gonna lay in just a fresh bead of white here, and it's probably his first stroke isn't gonna be easy, but after that it's not a real difficult stroke. So we're gonna use Rio White, the world famous Rio White. And here's the, as he's putting this in place, if everybody wants to come over and feel the off contact distance once he has it tightened down, it's interesting because this is at 55 newtons. It's pretty high, very high. And we do this for demo purposes. Unless you get into roller frames, you can't buy a static frame at 55 newtons. But it's more or less to show the principle behind it, because you didn't come here to learn how to do white on black. However, it's kind of a nice bonus to walk out and go, wow, that was pretty easy to do white on black. Oh, I'll pass this around. And basically just just stick your hand on it and go, pass that around. Please don't break it. Ultimately, what we've done is opened those holes up. We're going to minimize our off contact distance. Now our goal again is to slice that off and lay it on the surface. So with a little luck here, your black shirt's back there. Oh, adhesive? Let's put it together. Here we go. Click. That's web. So he's going to put this on, and I'd encourage you before he gets it wet with ink just to touch the off contact distance. It's really minimal. We can't do that unless we have a super tight screen. And we show this again to show the principle, because that's what we're going to get into in some of these other effects. This is going to be based on being able to do that.
Having a newer squeegee pretty important when you're doing the height?
A newer squeegee, you got to have a good edge. You got to have the point behind the squeegees. You got to, it's a square angle. Over a period of time, you round that off. You get nicks in it, so it's pretty critical. Anybody else want to feel it? It's pretty tight. As opposed to if we were trying to make white ink, as you know, on say a 10 Newton screen, we're jacking our off contact way up, and then we're print flash, and it's still got that fuzz in it, or those rough spots in it. Part of that is from the improper peel, but part of it's we shove the ink all the way through, and you end up with it on your palette, and that's why you end up with a real heavy hand. If you notice here, I've got a sample of, this has got a bunch of real bright colors on it. This is all done using the similar techniques, but that blue is super opaque, and feel how lightweight it is on there. Now we got some gels, some other things going on elsewhere, but that's a really opaque, bright blue that we didn't have to put a ton of ink down to get that. You can pass that around. All right, so we're gonna take our, no, that's not it. Where did it go? Keep going? Right. Yep. And it is a good white. I'm not discounting the ink itself. It's just the process is going to make it work that much easier. Actually, I'm going to use plastic so I don't get that dirty. Got a good creamy feel. I'm not going to put too much in there, because we're going to pull that out in a little bit to do another demo. Now it's going to take him one or two pulls to get the feel, so cut him a little slack on the first one, and then we'll turn the shirt over. You'll be amazed at how easy it is. When you're doing white ink, usually you're just you're muscling it, and Jason's a pretty big guy and he's got some girth to get over the top of it, but it really isn't, a ball buster like you would think it would be. And that's just one hit without even pulling it a couple of times to get it dialed in. Anybody get that kind of white the first time with one stroke? Nope. Now you can go in and on a manual or an automatic, there's no reason, I'm not going to stroke it because I'll get it out of registration. If he hits it again as a double stroke, whether it's an automatic or a manual, you're using a little bit more ink, but you may be able to get away without print flash printing it. So a second stroke, look how white that is, without it being that hard. Now you can go ahead again on the auto or the manual, you print flash print it, and then you're back to your perfect white. And we'll pull this off the palette and you'll see that it didn't go through at all. Actually, let's turn it over and do a print flash print without a double stroke. Okay. And this is what we end up doing a lot. Now everybody wants to convince you that there's such a thing as this one-hit white. You know what, if I can control the shirt and get a perfectly smooth shirt, maybe I even put a transfer machine to it, flatten it out. If I can do that, and if I can control the art, I can convince you that it's a dead perfect white. But when my customer brings in old number 7, we do a bunch of work for Jack Daniels, it's a big round white circle. I can't do it with one white. I'd like to think we're among some of the best printers in the world. I can't do it with one white. I don't care whose white it is. In fact, on that piece, we'll use 3 whites. We'll use a first white down, like on an 88 like this is, and then we'll put a 156 on top of it and a 300 on the final one, and it is just as smooth and clean and pretty at the end, and we get paid pretty well for it. Our customer still thinks it's a one color. It's all on an automatic, so it's not like you're handling it a bunch more other than the setup, and we run those in 15 to 40,000 piece runs. So 3 screens to control it and get a perfect white to us is no big deal, versus saying, oh, I wish we could do that with one white. I mean, what's the point? So you saw it was a pretty good white as is. Is this just, yeah, this is just one. This is not drying.
It is now.
Okay.
Cold palette. Sorry.
And then the print flash print will be dead perfect or acceptable to 99 out of 100 customers. See how he floods it to fill the stencil? Look how clean that white is. We'll run it down the dryer, but nothing on the palette. And there's very little ink on the inside. I'm getting white ink all over myself, but. Will you throw that on the dryer?